On a beautiful Friday evening here in the Moley Family Stadium, we are set for the annual Smile Like Aubrey game and a chance for some history in the process as the Tampa Spartans, fresh off a 3-game shutout sweep against Palm Beach Atlantic, will take on the Eagles of Embry. Riddle. Good evening, everyone. Victor Anderson alongside Bruce Wozniak. Glad that you're with us here on this Friday night. And Bruce, when we walked into the ballpark today, we could kind of sense the buzz in the air, not because the honoring Smile Like Aubrey, which we'll talk about in just throughout the game today, but Gwen McGinnis, a chance to make some history, and she has been absolutely lights out when you look at her numbers in 2026.
Yeah, amazing to have thrown that recent perfect game. And if that's not a shot in the arm for the Spartans as they start this 3 games in less than 24 hours against Sunshine State Conference rival Embry Riddle, I don't know what is. But I'm sure if you talked to McGinnis, she'd probably say it's just about the wins. I'm not keeping track of personal stats, but we'll do that for her, huh?
That's why you have announcers and SIDs to keep track of those things. McGinnis on the season, 11-2 with a .59 ERA, which is second best in the nation. And she comes into tonight's contest riding a 52 1/3 scoreless innings streak, which is the second longest streak in Tampa history, only behind Kayla Cox, who had a streak of 56 innings back in 2013. Embry Riddle, led by head coach Kelsey Dunn-Diaz in her 12th season, will have this lineup with Leah Oberkare. She will lead things off. Emma Wood in the 2 spot. Kendall Wilkie, the leading hitter in the conference, she'll hit 3rd. Matea Martin will hit cleanup. Addison Orr will hit 5th. Vanessa Gilbert will hit 6th. Ava Arnold will hit in the 7th spot, with Riley Sullivan hitting 8th and Sierra Lipton batting 9th.
Victor, I think that the audience needs to really let that sink in. 52-plus innings. That's more than 7 complete games. If she pitched 7 complete games in a row, then you go beyond that. And that's how eye-popping that stat is.
She has been absolutely lights out since that conference opening series at St. Leo in early February. That one goes outside. Misses on the outside part of the zone. Brings the count even at a ball and a strike. Scott Boswell behind the plate calling the balls and strikes on this Friday evening. Ralph Rodriguez is behind first. McGinnis is 1-1. Sails up in the zone. Brings the count to 2 balls and a strike.
Embry Riddle comes into tonight's game with a 15-13 one-loss record. The Spartans 19-6. Very familiar opponents, Sunshine State Conference rivals. Embry Riddle, of course, from up in Daytona Beach.
She gets a piece of that one there. Brings the count even. Bruce, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Spartans wearing all black tonight, and means that they'll probably wear white uniforms tomorrow in the heat of the afternoon, but I don't know how much an advantage that is playing against a team that's also from Florida.
Well, they deal with the humidity all the same, Bruce. It's just a matter of to what percentage of the humidity is going on that day. 2-2 for number 22, leading off Embry Riddle. Fouls out one back, keeps the count square at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tampa's defense, a familiar one with Abby Johns on left, Aubrey Zeckman in center, Cam Feast in right. Hannah Salisbury at first, Hannah Yetter at second, Kinsey Reynolds at short with Jenna Newpaper at third, and another foul ball off the bat of Oberkare. Kenna Kryler again behind the plate doing the catching. Again, the story tonight, Gwen McGinnis trying to edge her name on top of the Spartan record books. Breaking ball, 2-2, easy pop-up over to second for Yetter, and that's the first out of tonight's contest.
Yeah, a perfect game in and of itself is rare enough, but to do what she's been doing and do it as consistently is something for the record books, to put it mildly.
She has been phenomenal. The last time she gave up a run was in the second game of the St. Leo series. You have to go back to February 20th for that stretch. As Emma Wood steps out of the box, Wood comes in with a .420 average, 2 home runs, 17 driven in. Takes that one up high for ball 1.
And to the viewers, February 20th may not seem like that long ago, only last month, but you have to remember the frequency with which these teams play. And this is, as I said, first of 3 games in 24 hours. Less than 24 hours.
And remarkable to see what McGinnis has done. She's pitched all 3 games last week in the series versus Palm Beach Atlantic. We'll talk about that when we have a moment. This is high again, 2-1. She came in, got the start on the opener Friday night. Had to do a 2-hit shutout to pick up the win there. as a 2-1 is swung through a miss by Wood, 2-2. Came on in the 8th inning as the Tampa got a 2-0 lead, picked up the save, didn't allow a base runner then to do 6 perfect innings as Tampa run ruled the Sailfish to close out the series, and she did so with pitches like that as she strikes out Emma Wood for out number 2.
I think what's impressive also is that as much as I just finished saying that they do play quite frequently, you do have so many days off that the fact that she's able to maintain that momentum from one game to the next when it's not playing every day or playing every other day.
And I think the big part in that stretch, Bruce, is she gets a swing on a miss from Kendall Wilkie. Well, she did not appear in that Friday the 13th doubleheader versus Caldwell. It was Holly Steffes who got the start, along with Coda Travers. And Al McGinnis to get some more rest. When we saw that when she pitched against Hillsdale on St. Patrick's Day, when she was dominant once again. And she's off to another dominant start, 2 straight strikes. And gets a swing on a miss on a wise ball. Kendall Wilkie goes down swinging. 53 in the 3rd inning scoreless for the All-American. Tampa will look to get her some early run support when we return to the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. We saw Tampa's number 19 in the circle on the top of the first. Embry Riddle has a pretty impressive number 19 in the bottom of the first. We'll look to match zeros with Gwen McGinnis. That's Olivia Doherty. And Bruce, she comes in 75 record with a 2.11 ERA as a chance for longtime assistant Denise Rubio come across down below. And Jenna Newpaper will lead things off in the bottom of the first. And Doherty has been the ace of this pitching staff for Embry Riddle in 2026. As she throws ball 1 to Newpaper.
Yeah, 16 appearances. She started 10 games, 7 complete games in 2026. So impressive indeed for Olivia Doherty coming into tonight.
An opportunity for her to pick up her 8th win of the season. Got a big swing from Jenna Newpaper, brings the count even 1-1. Doherty was the Sunshine State Conference Pitcher of the Week 2 weeks ago for her performances against Rollins, mainly in that performance against the Hatters, against the Tars, where Embry Riddle was able to salvage a game in that series. Newpaper down 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jenna hitting .305 with 11 runs driven in. Little chopper, nice backhanded play at third by Sullivan, and gets the throw over to Wood for out number 1. A little nifty backhanded play by the third baseman, Riley Sullivan, showing Jenna Newpaper how things are done in the hot corner.
I'm going to say that Olivia Doherty is also a little bit of an imposing figure, standing 5'9" out in the pitching circle. And it looked like Newpaper was going to figure her out there. Nice job to put a bat on the ball, but great defensive effort to get that first out.
Here comes Cam Feast, who has been a house of fire in the last couple of weeks. Takes a bunt outside for ball 1. Feast now leading the Spartans with the even 400 batting average on the season. With even 400 on the season with 8 runs driven in. Gets popped out one up. That will land right on top of the screen there, the Embry Riddle fans. Cam Feast moved up to the number 2 spot in the lineup. Trying to generate some more offense with a 1-2 spot with Kenna Kryler hitting behind them in the 3-hole. And so far the move has worked for head coach Leslie Cantor. Gets jammed, shallow center field. Obercare is there to make the catch for out number 2. Let's quickly give it a Tampa lineup. Newpaper you saw bounce out to third. Feast with the fly out to center. Kenna Kryler will hit third. Makayo Brummel O'Neill back in the lineup. She moves up to the 4th spot as a designated player. Carly Salisbury with the red hot bat. She hits fifth. Hannah Yeller, Audrey Zeckman, Abby Johns, and Kenzie Reynolds round out the Tampa 9 for head coach Leslie Cantor. Here's Kreidler. Takes that for strike one. Defensively for Embry Riddle will be Addison Orr in left, Leah Obercare in center, and Matea Martin in right. The infield will have Emma Wood, Sierra Lipton, Ava Arnold, and Riley Sullivan first to third respectively. And Doherty paints the strike. Nice receive by the catcher, Vanessa Gilbert. Kreidler down, no balls and 2 strikes. It's jammed and fouls on one straight back.
You know, Olivia Doherty is from Norwalk, Iowa, and the lengths that Kelsey Dunn-Diaz, the head coach of Embry Riddle, has gone to, 7 different states represented on this 2026 roster.
Knows how to bring those great talents into the state, and Doherty breaks it back over the plate for call strike 3. And Bruce, a nice start to the first inning for Olivia Doherty. Back to work goes Gwen McGinnis in the top of the second. No score between the Spartans and the Eagles, alongside Bruce Wozniak on Victor Anderson. And Bruce, to kind of give more context to what Gwen McGinnis has done, we referenced her streak about 52 and a third, about 53 and a third scoreless innings. She is now allowed to earn run now in 55 innings, dating back to that series against St. Leo. And her ERA at home, entering today, .15. There was a zero before. There was a zero before that point, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, overall on the season, she came into this game with a 0.59 earned run average, and you know when you also look at it across 83 and a third innings pitched. Now, granted, it's not exactly lining up, but it just shows you again more scoreless innings than not.
And a remarkable part about that is she gets
probably I'm not doing the math, but you know, in the ballpark of 2/3, right? Maybe approximately 2/3 of her innings scoreless.
Yes, remarkable numbers that she's put up this season. Matea Martin at the plate, will appeal to first. No swing, says Mr. Ralph Rodriguez, and the Spartan faithful expressed their displeasure at what they thought was a missed call. 1-2 to count to Martin. Hits .321 with 17 runs shutting in. The left-hander. Swing, and Jonah Newpaper says, I will take that first out. Thank you very much. So 1 away.
You know, that looks routine, but it's just kind of fundamental softball. Like, that's why you have to be ready on every pitch, is to jump up like Newpaper did, a simple catch, but one that if you're not really in tune with what's going on, that ball is going to drop. Yeah,
unfortunately, it was in foul ground, but better to take the out and an extra pitch. Foul tip into Kreidler's glove. Screets Addison Orr for strike 1.
You know, you can also, you kind of, quote-unquote, take a pitch off, right? And you look and you go, okay, that's going to go foul. Well, guess what? If you ran and caught it, now it's an out, not a foul ball.
And now all of a sudden, Addison Orr is behind 0-2. And this is what made Gwen McGinnis an All-American last year and odds-on favorite to repeat as Sunshine State Conference Pitcher of the Year in 2026. Orr goes after a pitch high and inside. And Gwen McGinnis, a house of fire tonight, Bruce. 3 strikeouts of the first 5 Eagles, 2 down in the Embry Riddle second.
Yeah, and if you watch her demeanor out in the circle, it looks like it's just business as usual. You know, and the credit to her to not get caught up in the emotion. She probably, I said half kidding at the beginning, that she's probably going to tell you it's about the team and about victories. But she probably really is not that concerned about personal stats at all. As long as her team is doing what they've been doing this season, which is winning 19 out of 25 games, that's where she's going to get the real satisfaction. She knows her name will go in the record books.
Yeah, she will certainly. She'll take the W all the same. Anything else individual is just an added cherry on the Sunday. And Vanessa Gilbert's finding out the hard ways. It's been like that for everybody Gwen McGinnis has faced in the last month plus when she's towing the rubber. Gilbert down 0-2. Outside, Gilbert gets frozen. 4 strikeouts in 2 innings for Gwen McGinnis. A historical night on schedule for right now. We're through it bottom of the second. No score here in the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Bottom of the second we go here at the Amoli Family Stadium. Alongside Bruce Wozniak, Victor Anderson, glad that you're with us here on Tampa Spartans.tv and the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. 4, 5, and 6. 2 up. Makai Brummel O'Neill, Carly Salisbury, and Hannah Yetter 2 to the plate. And Bruce, we couldn't ask for a more perfect day for softball here on this Friday night.
Beautiful, beautiful night. 81 degrees. Sun covering the overwhelming majority of the field.
And Brummel O'Neill covers a lot of sky, but ends up popping out to the first baseman, Emma Wood. 1 down just like that in the Tampa second. Really
great crowd here tonight, too. So good to see the stands as full as they are. And again, it is a Sunshine State Conference rival, not surprisingly to see this many people, but so nice to see this, for all intents and purposes, packed house here on this beautiful Friday night.
Plenty of blue and gold made the trip from on I-4 to Daytona. To some social support to the Eagles. Carly Salisbury takes ball 1 at the knees.
Yeah, and why not make the trip, given that these two teams are going to face each other here tomorrow in a doubleheader.
Catches on the outside corner and brings it up, says Scott Boswell, 1-1. Salisbury has started to find her groove in her freshman season, now hitting .319 with 15 runs driven in. Straightaway center field, Obercare tracks it down. 2 quick outs here in the Tampa second. And as I referenced in our opening, Embry Riddle has a pretty impressive 19 in the circle on their side of things. And when you're being coached by someone like Kelsey Dunn Diaz, who was an absolute stud when she played at Alabama on the Division I side, you're going to see results and outs like that on numerous occasions. And that was fouled away by Hannah Yetter for strike 1.
Yeah, let's not have Doherty be overshadowed by McGinnis. As you said, she's off to a great start herself so far.
Doherty off to us. Doherty had 5 innings in their win versus Hillsdale. Part of game 1 of that doubleheader on March the 20th. So the Eagles had a full week off to prepare for Tampa, and Doherty has accounted herself well so far tonight. 1-1 to count to Hannah Yetter, hitting .291. Yetter loops that one to right center field. That will split the gap, rolls all the way to the fence. And Hannah Yetter will round the second. She's going to get waved around by Coach Leslie Cantor. Slides in safely in the third. Ball skips away. Yetter breaks for home. She slides in safe. And the Spartans on the board, 1-0.
How about that? How about that?
Some miscommunication by the Eagles defensively. Leslie Cantor takes advantage of it. She started waving Yetter to third, and when she saw the throw skip short of the shortstop, Arnold waved her around, and she comes on home and Spartans strike first.
Yeah, and Yetter obviously was going to be thrilled with the triple, and so a bonus there as the Spartans get the game's first run here in the bottom of the second with 2 outs.
So a 1-0 lead for the Spartans on a Little League home run for Hannah Yetter. Zekman can't hold up her swing. Strike one. So this will be a triple, and then a throwing error by the center fielder, Obercare. And allowed Hannah Yetter to come on home. 0-2 to counter Aubrey Zekman. Outside, ball one. Zekman had been hitting at the top of the Tampa order. Hit a bit of a rough patch during that long home stretch earlier in the month. And that luck stretch continues as Zekman goes out on strikes. But Hannah Yetter circles the bases in an unconventional fashion with the Little League home run. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error. Nobody left. 2 in the books here in Amoli Family Stadium. Spartans 1, Eagles nothing on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Top of the third we go here. 1-0 lead for Tampa along with Bruce Wozniak. Victor Hansen, glad that you're with us. Gwen McGinnis is being Gwen McGinnis. 6 up, 6 down. Outside ball one to Ava Arnold.
Victor, that run that Tampa scored in the bottom of the second, to scratch and claw your way, that's kind of par for the course. That's the script for these conference games. You'll take them any way you can get them once you get to this point of the season. I mean, obviously you will at any point, but once you really start digging in and you play teams like Embry Riddle, who knows? That could end up being the game-winning run right there.
Well, the way McGinnis has pitched so far, 1 run has been more than enough for the All-American. 2 balls and a strike to Ava Arnold. Arnold playing shortstop, hitting .254 with 5 runs driven in. Embry Riddle on a 3-game winning streak. Salvaged the final game of the final game of the series against Rollins, and Arnold salvaged having those elbows bent in another way on that wicked changeup from McGinnis, and then swept the doubleheader versus Hillsdale last Friday. And down goes Ava Arnold. 5 strikeouts for Gwen McGinnis.
I think the other side of that play is that 25 games into the season, you're at a point where if you're Leslie Cantor, you're really happy to see that your players are kind of in that rhythm where the communication is down, the signals are down. They just kind of have that instinct. And yes, of course, you're being waved around to go home, but everything's got to be clicking on all cylinders the way they were on that play to get those runs as they head into the home stretch of the schedule.
It's like time to tuck in the towel of Riley Sullivan, who's trying to get herself going. Sullivan hitting a 109 in her freshman year. Does have 3 RBIs. Upstairs, ball 1. Embry Riddle with their slew of freshmen in their lineup, similar to Tampa in 2026. That one goes away from the freshman, third baseman, 2-1. Sullivan made that nice play in front of the bag on that rope hit by Jenna Newpaper in the Tampa first. That one's lined to right field, and Canfis hustles over, makes the catch, and that's out number 2.
There's an effective use of the rise ball during that at-bat. Gwen McGinnis, she sees Riley Sullivan, a 5'8" target. Just get her to chase a little bit, and you see the end result with the fly out in foul territory. And all of a sudden, just like that, 2 down in the top of the third.
And I'll bring up Sierra Lipton, the second baseman. Outside ball one. By the way, that last out with Cam Feast puts Gwen McGinnis 2 innings away from passing Kayla Cox for the most consecutive scoreless innings in Tampa history. Cox had a stretch in 2013 where she had 56 and 2/3 innings of scoreless softball. Gwen McGinnis right now at 54. Gwen McGinnis right now at 54 and counting. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, I know there's someone else that has spent time on these broadcasts. If he was here, he would be talking about the commentator's curse.
Bounce over the short. Reynolds gets it there. A beautiful play by the shortstop, Kenzie Reynolds. And 9 up, 9 down for Gwen McGinnis. And the Eagles continue to struggle against the All-American. 2.5 innings in the books at Mid-Moley Family Stadium. Tampa still leads 1-0 on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Bottom of the third we go. 1-0 lead for the Tampa Spartans. As long as I have Bruce Wozniak, Victor Anderson, glad that you're with us on this gorgeous Friday night. Spartans getting their 1-1 on a triple in the air. Now allowed Hannah Yetter to score. It'll be Abby Johns, Kinsey Reynolds, and Jenna Newpaper set to lead things off, Bruce, in a game that has been, well, has advertised with Gwen McGinnis doing Gwen McGinnis things.
Yeah, and I want to go back to what I was saying before the break there. The notion of a commentator's curse, rest assured that if her streak did come to an end, I think the last thing that Gwen McGinnis would say is, I was just really thrown by the play-by-play guy up in the press box mentioning my streak.
Things you would never heard said by a pitcher by 2000, Ken. 0-1 to count to Abby Johns, hitting .275 with 6 driven in. Down low, ball 1. Tampa, a 3-game sweep against Palm Beach Atlantic last weekend at Simpson Field. Johns gets jammed inside, fouls that one away. Johns hitting .276, entering this contest, 6 runs driven in. Low and outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
As I look at that line score, certainly if you're Leslie Cantor, you'd like your team to have more than just 1 hit to this point. But I think if you told her before the game that at this particular time there'd be no runs, no hits, 1 error for Embry Riddle, 1 run, 1 hit, no errors for her team, she'd say, I'll take it.
She'll take it every day of the week as Leslie Cantor continues her strong season with the Tampa Spartans, her 30th at the helm, approaching a milestone herself. If things break her way, and that broken the inside, and Johns gets frozen on a nice offering by Doherty. Doherty with 3 strikeouts of her own saying, hey, I'm just as reliable in the circle as Miss McGinnis is. Remember, Doherty 2 weeks ago won Pitcher of the Week on her, so she knows what she can do out there in that circle.
Yeah, Olivia Doherty, my gosh, tremendous upside. She's just a sophomore.
And takes it in for strike 1 to Kinsey Reynolds.
So Kelsey Dundee has the pleasure of having Doherty in her lineup for a couple more years still.
Upstairs, ball 1. And of course, for those Division II fans who do not know, Kelsey Dundee, previously Kelsey Dunn, was a absolute rock star, both with the arm and with the bat when she played at Alabama. Bunt laid down. Low, ball gets away from the first baseman, Wood. But Reynolds got tripped up on first base, so wasn't able to try to stretch that to second. So it's going to be an air charged. Likely charged to Doherty because that throw was low, and Gilbert was able to get there in time. So now it sets up the top of the order with Jenna Newpaper.
Keep in mind that run that Tampa got in the bottom of the second came with 2 outs. Now they have a runner on first with only 1 out here in the bottom of the third.
Popped up a bunt and a great catch and get the double play. Great work over at third once again by Sullivan. So she robs New Paper of a sacrifice after she robbed her of a base hit in the first. So 2 down, it'll be up to Cam Feast.
Spartans still got to be happy with where they're at, though. They got the lead. They got a runner on first. They got their number 2 hitter at the plate.
Tampa being a little over-aggressive. Fortunately for Feast, that one lands on top of the net over to our left. Feast flew out to center. Back in the bottom of the first inning. 1-0 lead for the Spartans. Kinsey Reynolds on at first thanks to a throw in there by Doherty. But Doherty has not been impacted whatsoever. She's ahead 0-2. Feast trying to start a 2-out rally for the Spartans. Gets in front of that one over the short. Kicks away by Arnold. You saw Bruce. She tried to get that toss over to second to get the force over with Lipton. But you got to get that ball in that glove first. And a big opportunity for the Spartans with Kenneth Kryler coming to the plate.
Yeah, this is starting to get to be a little worrisome if you're Embry Riddle. If you're going to commit an error in the game, you're going to commit an error in the game. But to be in the bottom of the third and now they've committed 3, that's a little worrisome.
And this is an Embry Riddle team that came into this game with 27 errors made all season. Kryler goes again. Tampa being very aggressive on Doherty and that second time through the order. Going after those first pitches from the sophomore. Kryler got rung up to end the Spartan first. Reynolds at second. Feast at first. The 0-1 to Kryler. Lowe skips away from the catcher, Gilbert. No, skips away from Gilbert, but not far enough to let the runners advance. And Leslie Cantor was hoping that at least Reynolds could try and bowl for third.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Feast was halfway to second.
And then she saw Reynolds almost anchored at second. She had to hold up on brakes. Breaking ball drops over the letters, brings it to 1-2.
And this is what I was talking about, that Spartans got to like where they're at, up 1-0. Sure, there's 2 outs, but they've got 2 runners on. They're at their number 3 hitter.
And they got the outfield playing in for Embry Riddle. But not the matter as Kryler chases after a pitch high. Doherty with the big strikeout, her 4th, and she strains 2 runners. So 2 Embry Riddle errors do not come back to hurt the sophomore. We're through 3. Tampa 1. Embry Riddle 0 on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Three innings have flown by here in Tampa, and it's the Spartans that have the 1-0 lead over Embry Riddle, and the lone hit so far today. Victor Anderson alongside Bruce Wozniak. Wade McGinnis has retired the first 9 Eagles she has faced on 38 pitches, has struck out 5. Back to the top of the order, Obercare, Wood, and Wilkie, and Obercare falls behind 0-1.
Yeah, and how about that pitch count of 38 entering this inning? You might as well round it up and say 13 per inning.
She has been lights out again going into this streak because she's been on, Bruce.
If you consider if they end up having to use her tomorrow, it's that much more to their advantage if she doesn't have to really work that arm and throw 100-plus pitches tonight.
Well, when Coach Cantor talked to me a little bit earlier during the season. McGinnis went to her and says, "Hey, Coach, however much you need me to pitch, I am available." And Coach Cantor is not afraid to use her in high-leverage situations. Take a look at the Saturday doubleheaded opener versus Palm Beach Atlantic. Tampa gets the lead in the top of the eighth. Coach Cantor immediately goes to McGinnis. She retires as sailfish in order, and she has not allowed a base runner since then, and now has strikeout number 6. As Obercare goes down swinging.
There's a lot of young girls in the crowd tonight, and I hope if they're softball players, I hope they're paying attention because this is just a pitching clinic that Gwen McGinnis is putting on from the circle.
Here's Emma Wood. Wood goes after that one, fouls it away. Tampa defensively will have John, Zekman, and Feasty outfield left to right. Newpaper, Reynolds, Yetter, and Salisbury the infield third to first. Kryler doing the catching for McGinnis, who's ahead 0-1 Emma Wood. Drops that one a little bit low, brings the count to a ball and a strike. And the countdown is officially on. Gwen McGinnis 4 outs away from surpassing Kayla Cox. And that was hit well but foul. McGinnis came in tonight with a 52 and a third consecutive inning scoreless streak, second longest in program history. Hit to left. John checks it down. A well-hit ball in the night so far by Embry Riddle, but ends up being out number 2, Bruce.
Spartans are just making it look routine all the way around. Never mind Gwen McGinnis, but the defense is playing equally strong behind her. She's got, I don't want to say all the run support she needs because I want to give a lot of credit to Embry Riddle, and I want to acknowledge that we are only in the top of the 4th. But with the way that she's pitching, that might end up being, I said it already, all the run support that she needs.
So here comes Kendall Wilkie, the leading hitter for Embry Riddle and the league. Fouls that one off, 1-1. Olivia Doherty has pitched well for Embry Riddle, but her defense has failed her, and that's the reason why McGinnis and the Spartans have the 1-0 lead, a 1-1. And another wicked changeup thrown by McGinnis. She's ahead 1-2. That's the telltale sign, Bruce, when you have everything working, each side of the zone, all the quadrants, you cannot be touched by anyone.
And McGinnis has always been someone that's very efficient. She's always right there ready to go with the next pitch. It doesn't take a lot of time in between pitches.
And it keeps your defense on your toes. Wilkie gets in front of that one and keep it alive. Count stays 1-2.
It does keep your defense on your toes, but it also tells the batter, you better be ready because I'm not going to give you a lot of time to adjust and get ready for the next pitch. It's already on the way.
Pitching is all about timing. Hitting is all about messing up pitcher's timing. And nobody's been able to mess up the timing of Gwen McGinnis. Great heads-up play by Salisbury with Yetter to cover first. So a 3-4 put out sends us to the bottom of the 4th, and Tampa still with the 1-0 lead. Gwen McGinnis on the doorstep of history, and the Spartans look to add some more run support on the ledger when we come back to the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Makai, Brummel O'Neill, Carly Salisbury, and Hannah Yetter do up for Tampa in the bottom of the 4th as they have a 1-0 lead alongside Bruce Wozniak on Victor Anderson. And the Tampa offense has had opportunities, but right now Olivia Doherty has gone almost like pitch for pitch and 0 for 0 with Gwen McGinnis here tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say she's really been the reason that this is a 1-0 game. You know, there have been runners that have gotten on base, but as I mentioned before, 3 errors already. So thank goodness, if you're an Embry Riddle fan, that Olivia Doherty is doing what she's doing from the circle. Otherwise, this could be more than 1-0 at this point.
High and outside, 1-1. Doherty with 40 pitch set to throw her 40th pitch. 30 of those pitches have been for strikes. Allowed 1 hit, and then the miscue that allowed Hannah Yetter to score. Yetter do a 4th here in the 4th. That is low to Brumble O'Neill, 2-1.
Brumble O'Neill is 0 for 1 in this game. She popped out to first base in the 2nd inning.
Outside 2-1. Brumble O'Neill is trying to really find her footing in conference play. Was tearing the cover off the ball during the homestand, but since the schedule has turned full-time to conference play, it's kind of struggled to regain that spark. Wicked breaking ball on the outside by Doherty. Freezes the freshman. Makes it count full 3-2.
That pitch right there is a great example of the game that Olivia Doherty is throwing for Embry Riddle.
Breaking ball fouls that one off the end of the bat. Brumble O'Neill stays alive. Conference play, Brumble O'Neill only hitting 167. Does have a pair of RBIs, so you can understand why Coach Cantor, with that series against Palm Beach Atlantic, elected to give the freshmen some time on the bench to reset things. Kelsey Winters got the nod in the final 2 games. And Brumble O'Neill does a good job, Bruce. Takes the walk to start off the Spartan 4th.
Yeah, this is getting better for the Spartans. Before I was mentioning that they had 2 outs when the run scored. Then I was saying that they had some runners on base with only 1 out. This time they've got nobody out and a runner on first.
Well, looks like Leslie Cantor will have a pinch runner for Brumble O'Neill. That's going to be Lennox Ulrich to run for Brumble O'Neill. And this is vintage Leslie Cantor's softball that we've seen here at Tampa. Got a 1-run lead, get the leadoff runner on, get a pinch runner, and give a chance for Carly Salisbury to bunt her over. But the way Salisbury has swung the bat, it would not surprise me if she gets a chance to swing here, especially if you see the outfield for Embry Riddle with Orr and Obercare. They're giving Salisbury a big gap to left center. But instead, Salisbury pops up a bunt, drops it down, jump throw to Terrian-like over to first base. Good job again by Sullivan. She has been a human highlight reel over at the hot corner, 1 down. And Leslie Cantor will have a little conversation with Mr. Ralph Rodriguez, potentially about Wood interfering with Salisbury's path to first, or obstruction.
I was going to say, the play at first base was a lot closer than you'd expect. And the reason being that the first base player, Emma Wood, had to come off the bag to receive that throw. And I think it could be argued, did the runner beat the foot coming back down? I mean, you're bringing up another great point, which is interference, but you see it was not as routine as Embry Riddle fans would have liked.
Well, the throw for Sullivan forced Wood to kind of be off that bag at first base. So runner in scoring position for Hannah Yetter. Takes that outside, strike 1.
The upside, if you're the Spartans, is that you do get the runner into scoring position now, and there is still only 1 out.
Yetter responsible for the lone Tampa run as she fouls that one off. Triple to right center field, and then a throwing error allowed her to dive on home head first, and that's the lead. That's the reason why the Spartans have this 1-0 advantage. Bounce it over to second. Now get the run over 60 feet closer. Lipton gets to the Wood 4-3. So Yetter with the productive out. And set the situation. Well, we were going to say for Aubrey Zeckman, but we're going to see a pinch hitter in this role.
And keep in mind that the pinch runner down at third base now, that's Lennox Ulrich.
So
2
the question
outs in the bottom of the 4th
is going to be, looks like it will be Kelsey Winters to pinch hit in the 7th spot for Aubrey Zeckman.
You and I did a game together a couple weeks ago where they did this exact thing, where Kelsey Winters was the one that came in and made Leslie Cantor look good and responded with a base hit. And obviously that's all Tampa needs right here.
Winters swings and misses. Ball, shake strike one. Winters picked up her first hit of the year in that series finale versus Palm Beach Atlantic Saturday afternoon. Hits that to right center. That one will fall down, though, in the glove of Martin. So the Spartans once again cannot capitalize with the runner in scoring position as Winters flies out to end the fourth. Ulrich stranded at third. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Gwen McGinnis goes for history. Will we come back? 1-0 Spartan is at the 4 here in the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Top of the fifth we go. Matea Martin, Addison Orr, Vanessa Gilbert stand between Gwen McGinnis and the record books. Martin swings through for strike one alongside Bruce Wozniak on Victor Anderson. Gwen McGinnis right now, 55 and a 2/3 innings of scoreless, 56 and 66 innings, of scoreless softball.
And if you're Embry Riddle and you're going to try to break the streak, this is about as close as you can get to the part of the order that you'd want in an inning, the 4, 5, and 6 hitters.
56 and 1/3 innings right now for McGinnis. The next out will tie her with Kayla Cox. Upstairs, 2-1. Matea Martin fouled out to first to lead off Embry Riddle second. Down, so we ain't going to miss. And Martin has to count even, 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Martin leads off the fifth. McGinnis, next pitch could tie the record. This is away in this full count, 3-2. Addison Orr and then Vanessa Gilbert. 4, 5, 6 for Embry Riddle. The payoff pitch, it well but foul, right over towards the Tampa dugout and behind Embry Riddle head coach Kelsey Dunn-Diaz.
I'd be really surprised if Gwen McGinnis has any idea where specifically she's at right now with regards to this step away from the record book.
And to be perfectly honest, she wouldn't care less until the game is final. Breaking ball, strike 3. McGinnis is square with Kayla Cox. Strikeout number 7.
1 down in the top of the fifth.
And here comes Addison Orr. Orr takes strike 1. Gwen McGinnis now tied with Kayla Cox for the most consecutive scoreless innings in program history, 56 and 2/3.
Addison Orr is 0 for 1 in this game. She struck out in the second.
Got jammed, and Orr's in danger of striking out here, 0-2. No balls and 2 strikes. Gwen McGinnis 1 pitch away from history. That will do it. Popped up to second. Yetter has to catch. 2 down. And with that out, Gwen McGinnis now stands alone for the most consecutive scoreless innings in Tampa history. 57 scoreless innings and counting. Line over. That's going to go over the head of the second baseman Yetter. Good cut off by Cam Feast. And Vanessa Gilbert has the first base hit of the day for Embry Riddle.
Yeah, rather ironic that after the batter that does something historic for the Tampa pitcher, the next Embry Riddle batter does something notable, which is the first base hit of the game for her team.
So here comes Ava Arnold. Cannot hold her swing, says Mr. Scott Boswell, 0-1.
2 down, however, for the visitors here in the top of the 5th, trailing 1-0.
Upstairs. Gwen McGinnis surrendered her first hit just down on a 2-out single to Vanessa Gilbert. But is not even, you could even tell that she realized she was on pace for another perfect game, the way she's dealing that softball right now. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Ava Arnold. Misses on the outside, misses on the corner, squares up the count 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 out. Number 2 at the plate for Embry Riddle. And Arnold keeps the at-bat alive.
You know, Victor, it's amazing that for all the hype that we're giving to McGinnis, Embry Riddle has the go-ahead run at the plate. I mean, they are very much in this game, despite how tremendous Gwen McGinnis has pitched tonight.
Riddle gets in front of that changeup. Good job by Arnold to battle here with 2 outs against the All-American Gwen McGinnis. 1-0 lead for Tampa. Vanessa Gilbert stands at first. Misses on the black, full count. Three balls, 2 strikes, Ava Arnold. McGinnis' payoff gets flared foul over third.
That's kind of emblematic of what I was just saying. They are that close to getting themselves tied at least in this game. So props for sure to Gwen McGinnis. She's just played tremendous display of pitching so far. But she knows that this is only a 1-run game right now.
The march of her air is as thin as it can get right now. Line around with the new paver, and that ends the inning. So Gwen McGinnis stands alone with the most consecutive scoreless innings in Tampa softball history, with the athletic director looking on. 4.5 complete. 1-0 Tampa on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Bottom of the 5th we go here in the Moley Family Stadium alongside Bruce Orziak, Victor Anderson. Glad that you're with us on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Olivia Doherty trying to keep this a 1-run deficit for the Eagles. She'll have Abby Johns, Kinsey Reynolds, and Jenna Newpaver 8-9-1 to face. That's in for strike 1. Now, if those of you who watched the final game of the series against Palm Beach Atlantic Saturday afternoon, that third game started similarly to how things are going right now tonight. Both pitchers doing their thing, getting swings and misses like that. And then Tampa exploded for 7 in the top of the 6th. to get themselves in position and get the 8-0 win in a McGinnis perfect game. Popped up. It'll be Lifton who finds it underneath the setting sun and 1 out here in the bottom of inning number 5.
I had mentioned that this is the start of 3 games in less than 24 hours between these two teams. So if you're in the area and are available to come out tomorrow, a doubleheader that starts at 12 noon right here in the Moley Family Stadium.
And if you can make it out, Bruce and I will have the call for you here on TampaSpartans.tv and the Sunshine State Conference digital network. Embry Riddle looking for their first win against Tampa since April Fool's Day 2022. Ironically enough, the score in that game is the same score we have here, 1-0. Up above the letters to Reynolds. He was up to count 1-1. Each team with a hit today. Tampa with the lone run. Embry Riddle with all 3 errors. And again, a big par pitch inside. Tampa cannot find an answer for Doherty right now.
Yeah, and if you just tuned in, Victor just hit the nail on the head. If you say, well, Tampa only has 1 hit, they have 1 run, it must have been a home run. No, it was a triple dash error. All on a play by Hannah Yetter. And 3, unfortunately, if you're an Embry Riddle fan, for the visitors, as Victor mentioned.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Kenzie Reynolds. Reynolds fouls out 1 inside the left foot. Those of you who are just joining us, Quinn McGinnis now holds the program record for most consecutive scoreless innings at 57 in the 3rd and counting. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Doherty's with the pitch. Line to the center. Over care. Right in perfect position. 2 out.
Routine but nice catch out there in center field by Oberker. And, you can also make the argument, Victor, that it's the fact that the Spartans have not committed any errors that's allowed them to hold on to this 1-0 lead. Their only run came back in the 2nd inning.
Tampa did have an opportunity to add it in the bottom of the 3rd as Zupaver takes strike 1. They had 1st and 2nd with 2 out. But Kenna Crowder struck out to end the inning. Low and outside. And we knew coming into this game, Bruce, that Reynolds and Doherty, but McGinnis and Doherty were going to put zeros across the scoreboard. And it has been as advertised and then some tonight. Newpaper fouls out 1 and look, I call out the mask of Gilbert, maybe of Scott Boswell.
Yeah, Doherty, as we mentioned, came into this game with a 2.11 earned run average, 7-5 1-loss record. She's got 4 strikeouts so far in the game, has only walked 1 batter.
Slow roll over to short. Arnold there. High throw, but the ball got knocked out of the glove of Wood. I'll be intrigued to see if there's any argument over on the Embry Riddle dugout. That throw was high, and then Wood went to apply the tag. Newpaper accidentally knocked the ball out of her hand, so no real grievance. So that will be the 4th error on Embry Riddle tonight.
And I think if you're Leslie Cantor, you say, okay, that makes up for the one that I didn't get called my way before.
Pieces outside, takes that ball 1. They're going to charge that error to Arnold.
I'm referring to the play where you and I noticed the first baseman was up in the air. Did she get her foot down in time? Leslie Cantor thought it should have been a safe call. They upheld the call that she was out. So this time she gets it to go the Spartans' way.
Feast drives out 1 foul down the left field side. That came back in the bottom of the 4th on a Carly Salisbury bunt on a great play over at 3rd by Riley Sullivan. 4th error for Embry Riddle, but Doherty has bailed out her defense so far tonight. 1-2 for Cam Feast. Cam reached on one of those errors back in the 3rd. That extended the Tampa inning before Kryler struck out. Riddle goes at his low, throw to second base is in front of the bag, and Jenna Newpaver will have her 4th consecutive stolen base without being caught this year. And an opportunity for Cam Feast.
Yeah, aided by the fact that Ava Arnold couldn't hold on to the ball. So a good swipe there by Newpaver.
2 balls and 2 strikes for Cam Feast. Drives that to left center. Back goes Oberkehr and gets there, and now we'll end the inning. So for the 3rd straight inning, the Spartans leave a runner in scoring position. No runs, no hits. Another Embry Riddle error, but a runner left on base. 5 innings complete at Mamoli Family Stadium. Spartans still lead 1-0 on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Kelsey Dunn Diaz makes her way to the third base side as Riley Sullivan will lead off the top of the 6th for Embry Riddle. Eagles down 1-0 alongside Bruce Wars and Victor Anderson. Glad that you're back with us here on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Gwen McGinnis has only allowed a 2-out single to Vanessa Gilbert in the top of the 5th, and that has been all for the All-American tonight.
Yeah, I think you can tell the way that this game has gone based on the fact that we're in the top of the 6th. And the batter, Riley Sullivan, she's just 0 for 1 in this game. So this late in the game and only getting her 2nd plate appearance, she flew out to right field back in the 3rd.
The Guinness have retired 14 straight before that Gilbert single to break up the perfect game and a no-hitter. One ball, one strike to Sullivan as Ruth Reference fouled out to right back in the 3rd. Brings up for a strike, 1-2. 1 run, 1 hit, no errors for Tampa. No runs, 1 hit, 4 errors for Embry Riddle. Spartans have left 1, Eagles have left 4. Popped up, it'll be Yetter to call off Salisbury and having to deal with Ralph Rodriguez retreating behind first base, 1 down.
Having to deal a little bit with the sun as well as it's starting to set out in the vicinity of left field, so to speak.
Yeah, those rays are going to be affecting that right side of the defense, 1st, 2nd, and right potentially. Low and outside, ball 1 to Sierra Lipton. Appeal to first, it'll be 0-1. As Rob Rodriguez says, she did go after that pitch low from Gwen McGinnis. No balls, 1 strike, 1 out here at the top of the 6th. 0-2. Tampa defense, the same as it's been during this stretch. John Zekman and Feast, the outfield left to right. Salisbury, Yetter, Reynolds, Newpaper, the infield 1st and 3rd, with Crowley with the catching. Shallow left. Johns was playing in on Lipton. Handles that with minimal effort, 2 down. So back to the top of the order. Leah Oberkehr to the plate. She's 0 for 2. Popped out back to lead off the 1st. Struck out swinging her last at bat, which came in the 4th. Ball 1.
That was pitch number 81 in this game for Gwen McGinnis.
McGinnis now with a stretch of 58 consecutive scoreless innings. Bunt laid down. Newpaver gets there, but the first will be late. So Oberkehr with the bunt single trying to ignite something. So the 2nd straight inning sees the Eagles with a 2-out single, and they'll bring up Emma Wood.
Textbook play there by Leah Oberkehr. Great bunt, great hustle. She had just enough speed to beat the throw. And now Embry Riddle do have 2 outs, however.
Ground ball right there to Reynolds. She'll get the short way to second. So McGinnis only needed one more pitch to get out of that 6th inning. Gives up another 2-out single, but leaves the runner stranded. No runs on 1 hit, 1 eagle left on base. Spartans will look for some insurance at the bottom of the 6th when we come back to Magnolia Family Stadium on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Kenna Kryler, Makai Brummel O'Neill, and Carly Salisbury due up for the Spartans at the bottom of the 6th, trying to provide some insurance for Gwen McGinnis. Tampa leads 1-0. Victor Anderson alongside Bruce Wozniak. Kryler 0 for 2, responsible for 2 of the 5 strikeouts from 4 strikeouts Olivia Doherty, but she will softly fly out to the left field line in OR for out number 1. Defensively for Embry Riddle, as we'll see Leslie Cantor officially announced the re-entry of Brummel O'Neill. Addison Orr left. Leah Obercare in center. Mattia Martin will be in right. Emma Wood at first. Sierra Lipton at second. Ava Arnold at short. Riley Sullivan, who we will give a big tip of the cap to, playing phenomenally at third. And Vanessa Gilbert doing the catching for Olivia Doherty. Brummel O'Neill at the plate. Walked to lead off the 4th. Was lifted for pinch runner Lennox Ulrich. As the Spartans again trying to scrape another run of support and give Gwen McGinnis a little more room to work in the top of the 7th. Brummel O'Neill fouls out 1 all, brings the count to 1-2.
Yeah, that line score is one of those statistical odysseys where you see that Embry Riddle has more hits than the Spartans. They're trailing, and then you see the error column, and that answers it all. Oddities. I should have said oddities, not odysseys.
Well, it's been an odyssey in terms of that defense for Embry Riddle with those aforementioned 4 errors, the first of which produced a lone Tampa run as Hannah Yetter tripled, and then the fielding error caused her to score. I want to whoop. That called Mr. Boswell square on the hit the forehead, and he says, gives a sign to Doherty. He says, "I'm good." Thankfully, I don't think he'll have to worry about being in the concussion protocol after tonight. 2 balls, 2 strikes to the freshman designated player. 1 out on the Tampa 6. Bounces that past Coach Cantor and Sullivan foul.
As long as we don't see him put up the touchdown signal, we'll know he's all right.
Yep. 2 balls and 2 strikes with Carly Salisbury on deck. Tampa with a 1-0 lead. Oh, good looking spot from Doherty, but not good enough for Mr. Boswell. Brings the count 3-2. Doherty with 4 strikeouts, 2 of them against Kenna Kreidler. Make that 5 as he gets 1 on Makai. Brummel O'Neill, 2 away.
There's not too many instances where a manager or coach is going to say, no, I don't need any more runs. This is not one of those cases because I'm sure Leslie Cantor, I don't care how good Gwen McGinnis is pitching, she would love to see just 1 more run. Granted, Spartans at 2 outs here.
Salisbury takes strike 1. And, of course, you reference the Spartans here. they've had their opportunities off of Doherty, particularly as we referenced in the third at first and second. In the fourth inning, they had a runner all the way at third. As Salisbury hits that well but fast or in foul territory to bring the count to 0-2. And then in the fifth inning, Jenna Newpaper reached on a 2-out air from Ava Arnold, stole second, but got stranded as Cam Feast flew out to center to end that inning. So the Spartans, it's not that they haven't had the opportunities, Bruce, is they haven't been able to capitalize on said opportunities.
Exactly. Yeah, 0 for 6 with runners on. The Spartans in this game.
43 feet, bounces about 41 in the lefty box, brings the count to 1-2. Again, the lone hit for Tampa, a triple from Hannah Yetter, and then an air allowed her to score. 2-2. Embry Riddle will have up in the top of the seventh. Kendall Wookley, Matea Martin, and Addison Orr, 3, 4, and 5. Doherty gets the sign to 2-2. And gets Salisbury chasing on the pitch way out of the zone. So Doherty ends the night with a pair of strikeouts. But can Embry Riddle find any success off of Gwen McGinnis? We're through 6. 1-0 lead for the Spartans on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. One nothing lead. Gwen McGinnis will have to protect in the top of the seventh. Kendall Wilkie to lead things off for Embry Riddle. Hits that one well and hits that into the Tampa bullpen. Victor Anderson alongside Bruce Wozniak, and we continue to sing the praises, Bruce, of Gwen McGinnis, but a big tip of the cap to Olivia Doherty, who did everything she could to keep her team in as McGinnis is ahead 0-2.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this game is still not decided. I don't want to make it sound like it's a foregone conclusion that Tampa's going to hold on, but truthfully, you really could not ask for anything more out of Doherty than we saw her do tonight. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but if you came for pitching tonight, you absolutely got your money's worth, because Doherty and McGinnis have just been fantastic from the circle.
A combined 3 hits scattered, and McGinnis tallies another strikeout number 8.
You know, I had mentioned after 3 innings that McGinnis had thrown 38 pitches. I said, let's round it up and call it an even 13 per inning. And so here she is on pace to, in fact, not have to throw 100. She's at 87 right now.
And number 88, off McGinnis' glove. Though the first is there. McGinnis got startled there for a second. So they're going to need a moment to give McGinnis kind of recollect herself.
When I was a young kid and I'd go to baseball games with my dad, he used to teach me how to score the games, and he'd say, you put that down as a hit, it's too hot to handle. That was always his expression, too hot to handle, and that's exactly what that was for McGinnis. Safety is what you think of first there. Thank goodness she's okay, but you can't fault her. That was just too hot to handle.
Now one guy smoked off the bat of Matea Martin. And here comes Addison Orr. Gets jammed right to second. They'll get the out over to Yetter.
Yeah, I was going to say how ironic it is that one off of McGinnis ends up being the third hit of the game for Embry Riddle. And unfortunately, if you're a fan of Embry Riddle, they just still have nothing to show for it. As close as they've kept this game, as great as Doherty did for them in the pitching circle, down to their last out.
And a woman who got the first hit of the game at the plate in the form of Vanessa Gilbert. Fouls it off the screen, 0-1. Gilbert on a 2-out single to right center field to break out the perfect game in the 5th. Gets jammed, and Embry Riddle down to the last strike.
And if you are questioning whether you heard Victor say the 5th, yes, inning number 5 is how long it took before Embry Riddle got their first hit of the game.
Gwen McGinnis had called into that inning, not allowing a base runner in nearly 13 innings of work dating back to last weekend versus Palm Beach Atlantic. As, again, fouls on off the inside, does Gilbert. No balls, 2 strikes. Gwen McGinnis looking to put the finishing touches on a historic night here in Tampa. And we'll do it. Popped up to Reynolds, and that's the ball game. Another 3-hit shutout for Gwen McGinnis. She now extends her record to 59 and a third scoreless innings. And the Spartans start off the series with the 1-0 win over Embry Riddle. Pitching mastery from Gwen McGinnis and Olivia Doherty. But it was the defense that cost Embry Riddle the game as they win 1-0.
Yeah, final line score for Embry Riddle, no runs on 3 hits, 4 errors. They fall to 15 and 14 on the season. And for you, Tampa, 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and the Spartans improved to 20 and 6.
And most importantly, Bruce, 7 and 3 in conference play. Embry Riddle falls to 15 and 14, 1 and 9 in league play. So Tampa has a successful smile like Aubrey night. I mean, in the midst of everything that was going on with McGinnis and the quick pace that this game was being played, we do have to reference the reason why Tampa was wearing those jerseys earlier here tonight. And all of his smile like Aubrey. Aubrey is a close friend of the Spartan program who passed away tragically after drowning at 18 months old. The Smile Like Aubrey Foundation raises awareness for childhood drowning. And in fact, her sister was able to come out to win the first pitch tonight. Her family was able to get herself in a way of honor the family, Bruce, to not only get the win, but to see Gwen McGinnis get that record tonight.
Yeah, and a reminder that Victor and I will be back here tomorrow for a doubleheader that starts at 12 noon right here on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network after the Spartans take the first game of this 3-game series by a score of 1-0.
And a phenomenal performance by Gwen McGinnis as she now stands alone on top of the Tampa record books, and the record will only climb with each out she records. Well, Bruce and I will talk to you tomorrow at high noon here for Namoli Family Stadium. Final score, Tampa 1, Embry Riddle 0. Gwen McGinnis with her 12th win of the season and an historic outing, as she now has the most consecutive scoreless innings in program history. This has been Spartan Softball on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. We will talk to you till tomorrow. So